We've got audio and video. Very well. Let us begin. Shabbat Shalom, my most esteemed friends, honorable judges, all the entire LVE tribe and nation, and everyone accompanying us. On this so precious day of Shabbat, this time already summer, hot, precious, from California, the US of A, belonging to Savan 12 on the third month of the year 5992 from creation. This corresponds to the 1st of July. We've entered into July, the 1st of July. 1st of July of the year 2023. Let us study Revelation 17:37, Seals, Trumpets, and Plagues, Part 10. Very well. What else was I going to... I was wondering if this was okay. The flowers. It's a little bit many things for those nice flowers. Brian, can you move it a little bit this way? I forgot to adjust it at the end. Just a little more, a little more, a little more. It won't fall off, right? Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Fine. Yeah, because or else Mr. Penguin's going to get upset. Mr. Penguin will get upset if nothing turns out well. He says, I'm here. I am here. There it is. We're good. We've entered into the month of July, like I was saying. We've left June behind, and we've still got a long period of what we're doing, and then later I shall explain it. But without any further ado, let us seek our Elohim. Beloved Yahweh, we give you thanks for this so precious day of Shabbat. We give you thanks because we are enjoying this summer. I ask that your spirit be in us. I also ask that you prepare us and that soon this will get to an end like it is marked in the prophecy. All this I thank you for in your precious name, the name of our husband, the name of our creator, Yahweh Sebaot. Alleluia. The Lord has blessed with one more year of life the following members of the Eternal Truth: Jose Ramon Hernandez, Colombia; Rudy Olber Machaca Calderon, Peru; Belen Catalina Ardiles, Chile; Sara Lisette Intero, Colombia; Veronica Florian, the US of A; Mauricio Rey, Italia; Ricardo González, Chile; Gabriela Isabel Aguilar, Chile; Marta Sanchez, Mexico; Josue Gabriel Herrera Hernandez, Colombia; and two people which are about to arrive because they're getting here late. They live a little far away, but they're going to get here, but we're going to enjoy their birthday. And it is Nelson Siloch and Audrey Lee Siloch, for which we are ready to celebrate their birthday on the Shabbat. I cannot congratulate them because they haven't arrived. They're going to get here late. When you hear the dog bark, it means that they've arrived. So then, a very happy birthday, Nelson, and a very happy birthday, Audrey. I'd like to tell you something which could be like prophetic. It could be because the things that happen to us are something which I always try to understand the why of the situation. Do you remember? Well, we celebrate Shavuot in a spectacular manner. We ate bread until we were completely satisfied, and we finished it. Believe it or not, we finished it between that day and Sunday. We finished it. The bread was exquisite, spectacular. They just arrived. I was just congratulating them, and they arrived. The bread was spectacular. Okay, what I prophesied that was going to happen. The bread was spectacular, rather But there's a detail, which we saw later. Out of the two loaves of bread, which looked exactly the same, the one that I opened was perfect. And the other one, which I didn't open in video when I opened it, it needed at least, for some reason or other, a little bit of time in the oven. So the part in the middle did not grow, it fell. We could only utilize a part of that bread. The rest was no good. Why? Because it still needed to be cooked. If I would have opened that bread, you would have seen a hole in the middle, and you said, what happened? They both have the same time in the oven. Something happened. It could have been, which isn't, but maybe you think that it is, that when I placed one of the breads, the oven was cold. No, absolutely not. It was hot. But it needed a little bit more, which means that the other one also needed a little bit more. It's just that we were lucky that the one that grew was fine, but it would have been a little bit better. It's just that since it was already touching the burners up top, which marked it with the number 2, and it was becoming black after an hour being there in the oven, it seemed to me that it would be an excess already. But instead of taking 1 hour with the recipe I gave you, I mean, it's the quantity of bread. If you use that recipe, you divide it into 4. Instead of 4 kilos for each loaf, you make 1 kilo. It'd be in half hour. But the thing is, a terrible loaf like this, until the temperature gets to the center, it takes time. So what I understand with this situation that happened so peculiar, it's that the 2 witnesses, there is a part that is ready, but there's another one that isn't, which they still a little bit more time. That is what I interpret. That the witnesses, they still need a little more, just a touch, because those breads represent the 2 witnesses. And Shavuot is the feast of the 2 witnesses. So then in this feast, evidently nothing happened. Of course, I told you nothing would happen, but of course, things have to happen before. So then you have to understand that the feast of Shavuot will be fulfilled again, because it's feasts that are already fulfilled. It was fulfilled in the rendering of the Torah. It was in Pentecost, and also again now with the 2 witnesses. Now, what I'd like to highlight is that I knew that nothing would happen, absolutely nothing in this Shavuot, for the reason that for me it represents the resurrection and the presentation of the 2 witnesses. So then first it had to go into the state of non-activity of the 2 witnesses, you understand? So that they could be resurrected later and they could be presented before Yahweh. So then obviously it has nothing to do with this date. Many things have to happen, and it was indicated by the bread. The witnesses are still not ready, and they're not ready, the witnesses. So then you have to have patience. We are living this year of the plagues, and we are standing in a historical moment, because the first plague, or even better said, the seal trumpet plague, is in its development stage. In fact, the 1260 and the 1290 and the 1335 passed, and still the plague has not been shown, which culminates this whole package, seal trumpet plague. What does that mean? It's very clear. The subject is, what it means is that we are in a process which we should fulfill. What is the process we should fulfill? And that we're now starting to understand. At first, we didn't even understand what we're doing. What is the process? It is that all those which have to receive the white stone, they have to receive it. We cannot advance. And I believe that that's why I've told you, it doesn't matter. I still have people that write to me saying, I haven't ordered it because I'm not used to asking for things without paying for them. You haven't understood a thing. You don't even listen. Like in English, they would say that black guy, I can't remember. I don't want to say thy name. The Afro-American actor, I remember what word and what... he said, do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Do you understand the words that come out of my mouth? You should not wait to gather the money. The money is the least important thing. To obtain this is something else. It is to obtain the white. There's people that are so hard headed still, so obtuse, that say, no, I could gather it. No, 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 no. I mean, what's going to happen? It's what happened to the virgins. Then they say, I've got it. Now I'm going to buy the oil. And the oil is no longer there. It's way too late. Now it's the moment. And we're here standing in the period of handing this out. So then nothing's going to happen until everything gets handed out. I understand the prophetic times. I believe that we're in July. In July and August and September, we have to have been done with this. Just like that, people can continue to ask for it later. But the thing is, for it to arrive to those that they have to arrive, and only Elohim knows that. We make this to be possible, but Elohim knows who should have this and who shouldn't have it. So then, we're in that period of time. Nothing could happen. So then, of course, the bread was not ready. Yahweh showed it to me. He said, one's fine, enjoy it, but both of them have to be fine. So then, half of the witnesses are not ready. They still need to be cooked. And maybe even we need a little bit of cooking. I don't know, but that doesn't represent us. It represents the witnesses. So then we still need time. I don't want to break your little heart. What we're waiting for now. There's still time left. So then, speaking with one of you, one of the judges, chatting, he said this week, because he hadn't asked for the ring, he says, well, I just decided to ask for it. And I'll be honest, I didn't ask for it before, because actually I had a controversy in my heart, a dissonance with anger with Yahweh. Why do I have to make a compromise with Yahweh when Yahweh never shows anything? He always makes us look bad. Nothing of what we think that will be fulfilled is fulfilled. So then I started to doubt whether I should go into commitment with a guy like that. So then I was with those doubts, dichotomy of what I do. That's when he said, I noticed that actually it's a lot more than just a commitment with Yahweh. The commitment with Yahweh is just secondary. And I also noticed, I had already noticed before a little bit, but not so consciously. I had seen it, but I left it aside. He said, when I noticed that it was a commitment with you, that you, which is the eternal truth, us four, you give everything. You never fail. You're always present. You always give everything which we need, and even more and more and more. He says, I noticed that the commitment was with you, not with Yahweh, with you. You are the originators of this. Yahweh's not sending us shit from heaven. It's not that he comes from heaven flying and says, oh, this little white stone fell. Oh, it was my measuring. No, absolutely not. It's everything through, like it was the whole teaching. Yahweh doesn't come to teach anything. It is through you, he says. Of course, I was seeing it wrong. It is a commitment between humans. And I found that to be fantastic. Why? Because it's absolutely true. Commitment, and I thought that was magnificent. Why? Because the commitment is between us. Yeshua, who is Yahweh, he said everything you tie on earth will be tied in heaven. When you make a commitment to something that is left united, it is the union between you, and it's precisely what we've been studying and what we've been learning. I never said make a commitment with Yahweh and Yahweh's going to give you all the truth and Yahweh's going to send you this and that. No. If the Messiah has to notice that he has to roll here on earth, he has a role here, so then he makes a commitment. This is a lot stronger than with a commitment with Yahweh that you don't see. Then a commitment with Yahweh that doesn't speak to you. Then a commitment with Yahweh that you have never seen. Because no one has ever seen Yahweh. Except for the Son, he says. And that is something which will be left as a prophecy. We shall see Yahweh before anyone else. So then, what does this alliance means? What does this alliance mean? Even the alliances mean a bonding. I don't know if you know. It's when you get married, you're bound, and to a commitment. In English, they call it bound. But when they're being declared in a matrimonial ceremony, they're saying, you're now bound together. And what does it symbolize it with? With this, it also symbolizes with a binding. Before they would have a binding, they would tie them together, because two people are bound. Now, two people are not bound, it's a group that's bound. So then, the wedding with Yahweh is out of what we're thinking about with this. The wedding with Yahweh will be later. First, it's a joining of the body, like Paul said, of the body which composes the body of Christ. That's the way it is, the body of Christ. The body of Christ is a unit, but it's a body with different functions. Everything that Paul says, I'm not going to quote him now, but that body has to join like a unit. So then, this is a symbol that's brutal. Nothing will happen on this earth for us. It could happen for the rest, but nothing until they have not all these things been given and that compromise have been sealed. So then I love that when he said to me, tell the truth, now of course I want it. Because it's a commitment with you. That is the commitment that's so valuable. Later, in conjunction, we'll have a commitment with Yahweh. But here the Mashiach has to join. It's a united group. So then maybe you were seeing it as if it's a commitment with Yahweh. No. It's a commitment with the eternal truth. The eternal truth is the one that receives your data, the one that sends you. The eternal truth is the one that writes the letters to you. It's a commitment with us. If you want it to be a commitment with Yahweh, ask him. Maybe he'll send it to you. Up until now, he hasn't sent anything. Well, you might say, no, it sent me. No, he hasn't sent anything. 2,000 years ago, he left, and it's all in silence. So then, this is a commitment between us. So valuable that it becomes even more valuable as time goes on. So then I'll repeat this again. We're in the period of the rendering of this. That period, not because I'm saying it, it has an end. An end. Not an end like a motive, but an end. What is the end? When we give the last one. Just like the prophecy says, until when, in a different aspect, until when will we be here, resting, until the number is completed of those that are going to die like you. So then I say, when will we go into the second stage? When the number is completed of the commitment that has to integrate what this ring means when the number is completed. So then those that say, I'm going to wait and I'm going to gather the money, they'll never be a part of. There's still time. And I'm showing it that there's still time. And if Yahweh allows us and gives us time, then you, in the commitment, you do what's possible in your hands to be able to compensate what this cost. So then, that is the commitment that you have to take. I loved it. I love that part of saying this is a commitment, a human commitment. Absolutely human. For all those, I want to be very clear. I'll say this slowly. For all those that have already ordered it, you can't write to me anymore to say, I want another number. No. If you tell me that, you'll offend me because I just said it. I'll repeat this again. If you already ordered it, and I said, I'll order it, don't ask me now, I want another number. No, of course not. But all those that haven't ordered it, those that are thinking, all those that haven't ordered it yet, ask from the number that you have measured at least half a number more. Because many, it's been small. Why small? Because I told you. Every time you tell me I want an 8, you don't want an 8.5. No. I measured it. They argue with me. Men say I want a 10. You want an 11? No. I want a 10. The people are obtuse. They don't understand. This ring is thick. You they they use something with which is something really fine. They measure it, and if it were this thick, you have to ask for the number that's a lot bigger. So then the thick ring takes at least half a number more. And if it were big, it's a blessing because you can add whatever with a little tape, just some things that you can add that you can buy and make it smaller. But if it's small, what are you going to do? Tell me, what are you going to do? You have to cut it. There's no other way. So then always the stupid thing, because everybody argues, some don't, and they accepted the advice, and then they say, good thing I listened to you. Good thing I listened to you. But the rest that are obtuse, they say, no. I measured it. That's my number. Okay, I'll send you that number. And they say, it's kind of small. Or I see the pictures that it says like a chorizo that it's about to burst. Might it be? It's like with a whole bunch of some lubricant because the finger would not enter and the finger's about to explode. I see it in the picture because you asked for it small. Now, if you asked for it small, you asked it from me already, there's nothing to do. I ordered it already. The jeweler has like almost 300 rings in his list, in his waiting list. So then I can say, hey, the one that I said a 7, can you make it 7.5? No, he's going to get pissed. He says, not going to do shit because that's the way he is. So you have to treat him, like walk on eggshells with him. So then, there's another solution. What's the solution? The one that many have applied it, and they ask an answer that many have asked, and they've answered it. It has already been answered. Could I have another ring? But of course, that one is small, or it was fine, and you'd like to use it in a different finger, and you ask for another number. And I'm speaking to those that, those that wish, I don't want this to sound awful, those that were already able to pay for the ring, buy another one. Those that haven't even paid for the first one, it'd be ridiculous for you. You don't have the first one, you don't know how to pay the first one, but those that already paid for it, many people have already asked me for another one. I ordered it. I have 3 people, one for this finger, this one for this finger, and one for this finger. The one I'm using today. In this finger, I love it, and it looks very good in this finger. Whenever I want, I'll use it in this finger, and when I want, I'll use one in this finger. Fine. That's why you can order another one, of course. Okay, I'll read the text because I love it. Revelation 2:17, New Living Translation. Whomever has ears to hear must listen to the Spirit and understand what he says unto the churches. Unto all those that conquer, I shall give them from the hidden manna in heaven. You see the period. This started precisely in this period of the 1335 days. So then, that period indicated those who would overcome. The overcomers of what? Of the 1260, 1290, 1335. So then, this is those that were overcame. They need this. What do they need? Unto all those that overcome, I will give what? Of the manna that has been hidden away in heaven, and I will give to each one a white stone. And on the stone, it's a white silver ring. Those that go through this period, it is astonishing, this text, and can be fulfilled only once and never again. So then listen to what the Spirit says. Don't listen to your spirit. Listen to what the Spirit says. The Spirit is the one that gives you the ring. That's the one that you must listen to. Not just the ring. It gives you the eternal truth, which is the hidden manna in heaven. Why is it hidden? Due to all the scripture. What's my scripture? Well, I'll look for it later. Well, here it is. The whole scripture is hidden. This has a manna. It has manna. And that manna is the manna of power. It's hidden in heaven in power. That's why people don't understand it, because it's for kings. Why is the scripture hidden? Because it's for kings. Who has the power in the world? The kings do. So then, this has a secret message that's only for kings. It's been concealed, hidden. The rest of the people cannot access to the hidden manna because they are not kings. Only those that say glory of Elohim is to conceal the word, the manna, which feeds you, because this is manna. He says, but glory of the king to discover and to eat the hidden manna. That's why the people don't understand it. To whom? To whom can dare think in this world, who that's Christian, of all the millions of Christians there is that have ever been, they read Revelation 2:17, precisely 2:17, which coincides with the 1335 days, which coincides with those that overcome. Blessed is he that receiveth the white stone, the ring. Blessed. Who of the Christians could dare say, this will someday be given by a human being? Never again. It's outside. Like Paul says, it hasn't even gone up to their imagination. They can't even assimilate it because they read the Spirit. And who is the Spirit? It is the Holy Spirit. Let's start with that. It is the Holy Spirit, the third person of the Trinity. Let's start with that. So in the third person of the Trinity, the invisible being, the Holy Ghost, is the one that give you the ring. It's just that the Holy Ghost, the third part of the Trinity, doesn't exist, then who the fuck will give you the ring? If the one that will bring it to you does not exist, if you're thinking that the Holy Spirit can bring you the ring, because it says, listen to the Spirit. To all those that overcome, I will give them of the manna that's been hidden in heaven in the power. Heaven equals power. What manna? In the book of power, which is scripture, but it's hidden. And who can read it? The kings. It's all more than logical. Who receives the power in the world? The kings do. The slaves don't. The slaves read the scripture and they read this and say, someday the Holy Spirit, if I'm faithful, He's going to give you a little white stone. They don't understand absolutely anything because they're not a king. The kings see this, they fulfill it, they notice everything, and because they eat the hidden manna from the book of power, that's why they're kings. I'll give each and every one a white stone, a silver ring, and in the stone or in the ring shall be a new name engraved. What is the new name? The eternal truth. That's the new name, and also has the name YHWH Ekhad. It is the base of everything. But the new name, it's called the eternal truth. That is the new name that no one comprehends aside from him that received it. Of course, Brian said the other day when he worked at Walmart, he told me that they saw his ring and they said, oh, what does that say, love? I said, without him telling me that, he told me that later, that I said, they think that it's love, but it doesn't say love. It doesn't say love. It says something else. They don't understand it. Neither should they. Even if I explain it to them, they're not going to understand it. Tell me, how many Christians could understand it if you were to tell them, if you get together with all the Christians to get together with, that you know, it says, the Spirit already sent me my white stone. At least they're going to laugh, and they might throw you into an asylum. How could you think that the fulfillment of Revelation 2:17 is that another crazy guy that you listen to will give you a ring? That's impossible. You don't understand that it says the Spirit. You don't understand that this is for those that overcome. We haven't overcome anything. You're a sinner, just like us. Any Christian will think that. They would laugh so much here. Just laugh their ass off and they said, that's why you're sick. I thought there was a false Mashiach, but this guy really got the final reward. He really got the reward. Poor idiots that believe in this. That is what any Christian would say. Why? Because they're servants, they're slaves, and they'll always be so. I don't want to use that term, but they'll always be servants of the kings. Free. They're going to learn the truth, but they're not kings. The kings are something else. The kings have the power, something that they will never have. They'll never have it. And where's the power? It is in the hidden manna. Where is it in heaven? In the book of power. That's where it is. That's where it is. But if you are not a king, you cannot understand. So then I'll say this again. I'll say this again. If you want another ring, now's your chance. If you are still thinking, decide now. And your commitment with the ring is between us. It conjoins us like a body. It is the exact fulfillment of this, and we are stuck. As you say in English, we are stuck. We are stopped here. That's where we're standing. Nothing will advance forward until this ends. Until this ends. And here comes what I told you last Shabbat that I was going to tell you, but I didn't. But I'll tell it to you now. But afterwards, after some things that I have to say. But it's all hooked with this. We're standing here in a period. Very well. I'd like to thank Mila Honor, which sent us this and sent us this from Bolivia. I think that Nila traveled to Bolivia, and from there she sent us this. Sent us things that are prohibited by Ellen G. White. I know there's many Adventists that listen to me because they write to me. I'm an Adventist, I like what you say, but there are things, okay. For the Adventists listening to me, I have things that are banned. This is completely banned. It's a black tea, prohibited, because they have taurine, caffeine, whatever you want to call it. Ellen G. White said it's a no. And it has something else. It has cinnamon. It's another no. It's a double no in this gift. It's tea and cinnamon. Ellen G. White said that this elevates the lower passions. To Nyla, we thank you very much. Leslie and I thank you a lot. We haven't tried it, but we'll try it with cinnamon. I've never tried a tea with cinnamon. So then for all the rest of the Adventists, it's a big no-no. It's a big no-no. Okay, moving on to something else. This sent me this, but we ate one already. I had never seen it in my life. This is called ñape. The cuñape, it's a chipa. It's a chipa from Paraguay that they also make in missions, Paraguayan and Brazilian. I don't want anybody fighting here. From the Paraguayans, Brazilians, and missionaries, it's yuca cheese, or yuca flour. I said it's a cheese, but it's a little dough like this that has yuca flour with cheese, some add egg, and some other things. And you make a whole dough, and it's something spectacular when it's in the oven. In Brazil, they call it bread with cheese in Chipa and Paraguay, and in Argentina, it's also bread with cheese. Just in the north, I never tried it in Buenos Aires. But this is a tiny chipa that's dry. It's kind of like, it also has corn and cheese, but they made it like a little cheese, like a corn cheese-it. I don't know if that you can say it like that. I said it's dry, but you start to chew it, and it looks like the chipa or the bread with cheese. I loved it. If there was a place for me to buy it, I would always buy it because we all loved it. We all loved it. Many thanks, Nila, and also gave us a whole quantity that you won't appreciate of silver jewels, precious ones. They're all mixed. We don't even know for whom is anything. It's not divided by name, so then we'll see later. These are all earrings, precious ones, absolutely precious. We have some bracelets. I don't want to. Okay, there's bracelets with the name LVE, little bracelets. There's different types of silver chains. This one was mixed because Leslie had separated with me, but then I grabbed it and I mixed it all up. L for Leslie, of course, and L for Leslie. Or of the Eternal Truth, same thing. Exactly the same thing. Another necklace, little necklace, all made of silver, all spectacular, little hearts. Exactly. Spectacular, marvelous, a son that Leslie loved, a son with a Jewish star, but it's good. A 6-pointed star. I mean, it's good. It's so great. Very good. A tree that apparently is like the tree of life, or at least a symbol. It's just a symbol, of course. The tree of life. Tree of life, it's the eternal truth, or also another representation. You have to eat of the eternal truth to obtain life, or else other bracelets, another tree of life, little chains that look like jade stones and other things, little bracelets. What I said, chains, bracelets. And many other bracelets, all kinds of things, other bracelets. And there's none of this is for me, of course. Maybe you think that we're fighting over all this. No, this is for the girls, And for us, for Brian and for me, I believe, I understand that we have this. We have 2 necklaces which are bigger, precious ones. Behind it says YHWH, and here it says, what's it say? The Aleph and Tav. Aleph and Tav. This is one. We're going to be fighting with Brian who's going to go for this one. And this is the other one. One says Aleph and Tav. And the other one, oh, they all both say Aleph and Tav. Because this one, of course, it's written in a different way. Aleph and Tav, right? Same thing. They both say Aleph and Tav. And YHWH here. So then precious, both of them. This is what we got for Brian and I. Spectacular. Tell the truth. They're precious. Put them away before some strange hands. You never know. You see, you never know what could happen. I'm just playing. And then things disappear and they say it wasn't me. Sometimes I thought before you leave every Shabbat, I have to, like in the Argentinian police, put you up against the wall and then frisk you. And frisk you a bit. I'm just playing. Sometimes I say things that are true because we've gone to places. We open the kitchen. We find that we find forks from our anniversary set when we got married. What's this here? Oh, I thought it was ours. What the hell? What is my matrimony gift here? You see what I'm saying? And then they're going to give me all kinds of excuses and all the things. Okay, then. Okay, very well. I'd have to frisk you up against the wall, put everything away, put it in a safe before anybody stands up. I'm just playing. Many thanks, Neela. Many thanks. Tell the truth, many thanks. Very well. I'd like to remind you something that you have to have this clear, and I'd like to mention it always. We have a free consult, which is Angelina's consult. When you have a problem, when you don't know what's going on with your life because you're going through a situation or because in your body you show signs of what look like sicknesses of some type, we could tell you, especially Angelina, what the base of the conflict that makes you feel that way is. So then, don't forget to write to her by Facebook and make an appointment. Not just you, but others. Of course, there's going to come a time which the entire world that's going to have Angelina's consult. I mean, everyone in the world, on the earth. But for now, that service is for us and for all those that are privileged enough for them to say, look, you can consult her for free. Free. Absolutely for free. Very well. So then don't forget Angelina's consult. Look her up on Facebook. I'd like to remind you that the rings, you can pay for them via PayPal. If you don't have an account, look for a friend that has an account, make an account. And if not, also by Zelle. Both accounts, both PayPal and Zelle, are my email. The Eternal Truth. No, pardon me. Yeah. laverdadeterna at hotmail.com. laverdadeterna at hotmail.com. Those are my accounts from Zelle and the accounts of PayPal. Very well. Very well. I changed the Sivan month in the Eternal Truth, not on my timeline, just in the group, because we had uploaded one that had 30 days. But this month was the last one I had made. But now I made all the calendars that are making until we get to the feast of the 7th month of Atanim, so we can have them. So we notice that Sivan will have 29 days, so that's why I changed it. Because the previous one that we uploaded said 30, and on my timeline, in Leslie's timeline, it says 30. I didn't change them. But you already know, of all you that listen, that all that listen should listen every Shabbat. It's not that you only watch here and there. You already know. The month of Sivan will have 30 days. Very well. That's why I passed it on to you, and I uploaded it again on the Eternal Truth group. Shema Israel, Yahweh Eloheinu, Yahweh Ekhad. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim, Yahweh one is. This is the fundamental base in order to understand the sacred book of power, which is the Bible. In order to understand it, if you don't understand this rule, you'll never understand the thing. You know this perfectly well. Proverbs 25:2. Glory of Elohim is to conceal the word. Absolutely. Kabot of Elohim. Glory of Elohim is to conceal the word. What word? The word of power. That is the word. The one that gives power. Why the one that gives power? Because it's the one that will give power unto the kings and the wisdom unto the kings. Yet it is the honor, the same word, kabod. Yet it's glory, the very same glory as Yahweh, the same one. It is so much the glory of Yahweh to conceal the word as the glory of the king to understand the word. Yet glory of the king is to search out the word. The translators use the word honor because they said, no, the honor of men cannot be like that of God. Even if it uses the same word in Hebrew, we'll use glory to God, and the other one, then there's honor to men. The other one, just, we could even lower it even more, a blessed or an advantage. No, it says glory. It says the very same word, kabot. Kabot of Elohim is to conceal the word. Kabot of the king is to search out the word. Exactly. To search out the hidden manna. The whole world thinks that they'll find it in a theology school. There's still people that write to me, like pastors, that say that they are theologians, and what I'm saying is wrong. I'm going to argue with a slave. They're slaves of the university, of the religion. I can't argue with them. Go on with your life. Go on. Don't worry about it. It's not for you. This man is not for you, not even to eat it, nothing. In fact, you'll eat it and you'll get sick. You'll vomit. You'll get diarrhea. It's not for you. It's not for you. What Christian could fathom in their mind to say, the Spirit sent me the white stone? And the white stone, Colombia is the worst country that I've seen in my life. In the system of the post offices, because look, it's getting even to Venezuela. It's getting to Argentina, which I thought that it would never get there. Colombia. None of them have arrived. What sons of bitches? Because tell the truth, the last ones that I sent to Colombia, I sent them express. They would have arrived in 3 days. Where are they? They're in the customs office or in someone's hands. Well, maybe someone, they saw that it was more valuable. I'm just playing. Maybe the customs office says, we're the ones that deserve this. In one way or another, I won't worry about it. I won't worry about it because if it doesn't arrive to you, it's your problem. No, I'm just playing. But they're going to say, what? No, I'm not going to worry because actually we do what we can. With our bound hands and wings, we do what we can. Elohim will take charge to make those white stones to each one. It's the minimum that he could do because, of course, we really should complain that he doesn't do absolutely anything. But a little help is what we need. So then I don't worry. I'll leave it in his hands. If they get lost, I myself will go look for you where you are, and I'll take it to you in person. It'll be fulfilled, so don't worry. That's where we are. We'll think about it that way, but Colombia, what a disaster. All those from Argentina, listen to me well, my words. In Argentina, in difference to other countries, Brazil also, both of them, aside from being the best ones for soccer, Argentina and Brazil. Argentina here and Brazil down here. Both the best, and then the rest. Argentina, Brazil. Taking that out, both require for you to sign a declaration. Don't expect for it to get to your house of your white stone at home. No, the post office, both the Brazilian and the Argentinian, you have to go to a place. Maybe they'll send a letter to you or they call you, but you have to anticipate it. You have to go to the post office. I send it to you because they'll ask me through what means. The means is called United States Postal Service, USPS. It is the official post office of the U.S. I don't use DHL. I don't use FedEx. I don't use UPS because they're too expensive. I've gone there. They're 120 and 150 to send them. So then tell the truth. You're not going to want to pay for that. It's almost another ring. So then they use the best service of the U.S. Post Office. The problem is the customs office. That's the problem. So then you have to go to the post office. They always ask me, go to your country's post office. You have an official post office there in your country. You have to go there and look for it. And to say, hey, I have this number. This number says that it's stuck in Bogota. You have to give me a number of Bogota. Why is it stuck there? It can't be stuck there. You have to fight for it. Go and fight with them. Those from Argentina, they have to declare that you're receiving a gift that has this value, X value. The value is nominal. I said $5 or $7 depending on how many rings. 2 rings per ring and $1 per card. I have to declare what the package has. So then the ring I said, metal ring. Before I said metal silver ring, and it was even metal ring. If they ask you, what metal is it? I don't know, some cheap metal, whichever. Just whatever metal. Cualenque, as they say in Argentina, those fantasy ones. Fantasy jewelry, but still metal. Some white metal, whichever. You're not going to say, I got a silver ring because to start, they're going to charge you more. So what metal is it? No, it's fantasy. One says it's worth $2. It's not gold, no, of course. Right, I have to make sure it's not gold, and it's not from any precious metal, just whatever, because it's a hidden stone, even for the post office. Tell the truth. So then say it's metal. I don't know, just whatever metal. How is it when they give you a little gift, like a souvenir? In the post office, they ask me, and why do you pay so much? Because it's $50, the one I'm sending now. Why do you pay so much if it's worthless? They asked me, the guy. I said, I like this service. It says, if it gets lost, let it get lost. I don't care. They didn't pay for it. It's just a gift. It's a gift. They didn't pay for it. So then it says a gift, which means a gift. And it's worth $2 per ring. If you're waiting in Argentina, you have 3 rings. Calculate 3 times 2, 6. Christian put $6. Or just ask me how much. $6 plus 1 of the card, $7. In Argentina, it is allowed to send even $50 per month. In something, but that and all, the degenerates want a declaration signed from you. And also, some money. All the Argentinians that have received it had to go and declare that way, maybe by written or in some place by the post office or some place. So then all the Argentinians that have received it can comment what is the process, because sometimes they're waiting for it and they don't receive it because they have to do it. Also Brazil. Very well. So then you already know Colombia. I don't know what will happen in Colombia. I have to go in person and get the ones that are lost there and take them to each one. That would be later on. Okay, moving on with the text. Now, I was just wondering about them folks that want to use Zelle. Can you tell us what the account number is? For those that have what? For the Zelle account number, I'm talking about, like PayPal up in here. For Zelle and for PayPal is my account, it's my email. You want to send the account is laverdadeterna at hotmail.com. That is my account from Zelle and my account of PayPal. That is the number of the account. It's my email address. laverdadeterna at hotmail.com. Good. Right. They have it here in the video, here in the description. That is where it is when you click on see more. Malachi 2:17, that's why we have Mr. Penguin here, who's still very pissed because no one tells him that he's well dressed. And he's very elegant. He says they all dress badly. Eddie, who's manipulating the beast here. The beast, the little devil there, actually, it's manipulated by Eddie. And we have Mr. the Lord of all times, which is the structure that represents of the kingdoms from Babylon to the last one, the other Babylon. Babylon is the head and Babylon is the feet. And we have a rock called Jesus that now I understand that, and I'm not upset. It says Jesus or Yeshua or the Mashiach or the Lamb or the Christ, however you want to call it, that comes and strikes. It's a small stone because it's a small kingdom of some misplaced misfits that have a ring and they think that it's the white stone. Complete insanity. But of course, it's tiny. They almost cannot even perceive it by the world. How is this little rock from these people that think they're all that? Proud people who think they're the Mashiach. How is it going to do anything to this terrible statue? Because this would seem to be too big. This statue is enormous next to this stone. This rock comes and it destroys everything. Not just like that, and it doesn't stay like that. And it was passed on to history. No, it starts to grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And it fills the whole earth. Why? Because the stone means power. A stone means kingdom. So then, this kingdom of judges and kings, even if it's small, even if it's only 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, starts to grow and it takes control of the whole earth. That is in the entire biblical prophecy. So then the stone comes in its way, but we are standing here in the rendering of the white stone. We have to, first the white stone has to work in order for this one to work. So then, and we're here. We still need, the bread needed some cooking. The bread needed some cooking time. The two witnesses need a little more time in the oven. Very well. Malachi 2:17 says that's why we've got these three characters here. Ye have wearied Yahweh with your words, and ye say, what have we wearied him? In that ye say, whomever doth evil pleaseth Yahweh, and in such he delighteth. Or else, where is the Elohim of justice? Of course, the Elohim of justice is not anywhere where he could be found. But of course, because the world, there's injustice everywhere. Wickedness is everywhere. Pain is everywhere. And we are wearied also. But now, we have all the hope that we're in the process. It's so magnificent. I know that I'm repeating this way too much, but it is that it's so fantastic that it's difficult to really believe it. If I were Christian, I would not stop laughing. I don't know for how long if they were to tell me, look, the Spirit has sent me the white stone already. I mean, what an idiot. You're so ridiculous. Just as ridiculous as the first time that I heard of Germanic medicine, that I heard him say, because the first one that I heard him say this to Iru, you eat a cancer and then you're eating that cancer. And I thought, and it's a situation, I thought it was so ridiculous, so out of logic, absolutely, that I heard, this guy's crazy. I know we're flat earthers and all, but now you're done it. You're speaking with Gaston, they were all both laughing. That was the first conversation that I heard. They were dying laughing that the situations become cancer. And I said, what are they smoking? Are they smoking, what is the one that I called? What was it? Ayahuasca. Were they smoking ayahuasca? So then it was difficult for me to assimilate that. It's not so crazy, as if to say, the Spirit, which I see him every Shabbat, sent me the ring. And if to that we add the 4 angels, and to that we add all the dates, they'll say, wow, you guys live, I don't know what planet. Yeah, in a flat planet, which is not a planet. Not a planet. It's called the flat Earth. That is where we live in. And you live in a globe that's spinning and who's crazy. We'll see who is the crazy. And the witnesses need a little more cooking in the oven. Very well. Very well. So then, let us advance unto the text of the invitation, which has to do what I was going to tell you last Shabbat, but it didn't tell you because I left it for this Shabbat. But it's speculative. I'll repeat this again word by word. It is speculative. I'm going to give a date. A date. Always the same thing. Always the same thing. And I know I caught your attention. Let's see if I caught your attention or not. Or else we'll just shut everything down. I find 272 likes. 272 likes. So then, since I'm going to give a date, if it doesn't go to 300 likes, I won't give anything. Would that be fair? And it's not because of me, because I could give a fuck if you give as a like or not. It is to, it's kind of like I feel bad being you able to do something for the algorithm of YouTube to send you this video. There are so many people here that if I were to ask them, how many people have known the truth because they got some video on YouTube? Let's ask here. The ones listening today or listening later, leave a comment saying, tell the truth, I didn't know you, and I got a video from YouTube like this, a random one, random in Spanish. Random in Spanish. Random. By chance, and I saw some guy with a beer, and said some things that really caught my attention. And I said, it can't be like this. Some rabbi saying bad words. What the fuck is this? So then it caught my attention. Sometimes it takes time. I want to know, some of you watching me today, you got a video out of nowhere from YouTube, and that's how you knew about the eternal truth. In recommendations, you know why the recommendations are? Due to the likes, the comments that it has, and also due to the views it's got. That's why I said, if you could do something you don't want, and I won't, until there's 300 likes, I won't give any dates. We have 300 already. You have to give you an incentive some way. If you don't get an incentive, you're always like this. You're here because it's a Shabbat. They could be watching River Plate. No, but since it's a Shabbat, and we're watching River, which they're winning because they play well. They're playing very well. They're chickens to the bone. So then how's River doing? They're down by 1. What? I can't believe you. They're playing well. I mean, I recognize it. I like soccer. I had stopped watching it. There it is. Pedro is one of them. Pedro is one of them. Oh, you see George. And from George, a lot more people knew because George moved a lot. So then it doesn't cost you anything to give us a like, to put down a comment to help that. Exactly. It's not to, you can help my ego. You can't. Due to a like, due to a comment, don't be ridiculous. It is for the algorithm of YouTube. No more than that. Absolutely no more than that. Okay. So then. Also, there are many have told me. Maybe now they don't want to tell us, but many have told me. Some say I knew it all my whole life. There's always the ones that have known it their entire life. Oh, you see, they start to come up. So then, that's why, wow, 320 likes. A little more incentive for the boys. So then River is losing. Oh, how awful. are these chickens. They were watching something else. No, it's just that River could lose. River Plate could lose because they got 50 points. They have 10 points over the second one. They need 6 more dates for their champions already. It's almost impossible for them to lose anything. They'd have to lose anything. They don't want to win. No, River's playing well. That's true. That's the way it is. Now he'll turn the game around. It was due to YouTube. If I tell you the truth, YouTube has been the means of how the Spirit spreads this message. How does the Holy Spirit work? Through YouTube. Just like that. No, because I don't receive my house. Well, through YouTube. Right. You could pray, but you could pray and wait for the Spirit like this. You're not going to receive shit. You want to receive it even without praying. Turn YouTube on, the eternal truth, and you have the Spirit speaking to you. If you believe it or not, that's your problem. Very well. Ready. Not speaking in tongues, only 3 tongues. Spanish, Portuguese, and English. And we cover everything. The Spirit speaks in 3 tongues. The best one of all is Spanish indirect. The other ones, they try to translate. Very well. We enter to the text. So then, I'll say this again. Now that we've gathered 323 likes. I thank you. Now, I will say this. What I'm about to say now is a date that's specific, but it's speculative. All the dates that we've given, well, some have not been fulfilled like the way we think, but all the rest have, okay? 1260, specific, 1290, specific, 1335 also. And now we're in the period of handing out the silver ring, the white stone. Now, the date that I will give now could be this year, or it could probably be the following year. I don't know. But it's something that calls my attention a lot, way too much. So then, first of all, and mainly, this is speculative. I want to leave this clear. This is speculative. Don't say, yes, we, this time. No, because you'll make me feel bad. Because, yeah, we will be anxious waiting to see if something happens. But always with our feet on the earth and say that speculative. Is it clear what I just said? Okay? It's speculative. And it is contained in the invitational text. It is contained. The date is there. Who can read me the date? It is right there in the invitational text. Concealed. And now I will explain it. Reads as follows. And YouTube is fine because YouTube is YouTube, like Jew-tube, and the true Jewish message is given through YouTube. Even if it also belongs to the other Jew-tubes. The other Jews' tubes, which Yeshua would tell them, no, not Yeshua. Yes, Yeshua, but Yahweh would say, hey, you say you're Jew-tubers, you're not true Jew-tubers, you're fake. These were the true Jew-tubers, and now you see, because they've got power, so then come kneel before my Jew-tubers cut your heads off. No. Before, they have to use force in some way. Come and kneel in front of these true Jew-tubers. Him that hath ears, hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. So then, what does the text of the invitation say? Revelation 9:13 to 17. I'll read in the real code. It's a Bible that I don't like a lot, but it was for this text. I liked it. The royal code in Spanish, it says in the spectacular picture that Leslie added, which is in the video, spectacular, that sky, that's wow, magnificent. Absolutely magnificent, yes. If I had not seen it with my own eyes, and when Leslie got the picture, I would say, this is like Photoshop. No, it's not Photoshop. It's a real photo. A real photo. Spectacular. Okay, what does the text say? The sixth malach. Gabby already criticized that you added an accent mark. No, I didn't. It's in that version. Look it up. Gabby, don't be so annoying. Gabby starts to correct. In the invitation, you put malach with an accent mark, and there's no accent mark. What? Oh, Sivan, that one. I'll accept that one. That was Gabby. What is Sivan without an accent mark? That's true. Because if they see a word, it was huge and ridiculous. If Gabi and Edgardo don't see it, the word without an accent mark, they get stuck in their mind and they can't think of anything else. They can't think on anything else because it bothers them so much. Bothers them so much. That's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong. It's just that Gabi doesn't get the emails that I receive. The people are gonna say it's concealed. Wow. Okay. But it's good, a good correction. So then the sixth malach sounded the shofar, and I heard a voice between the four horns of the golden altar before God that said the sixth malach, which sustained the shofar, and said, "Let loose." The four leaders, of course, we always read angels in some versions, even they dare say demons. Let loose the four leaders which have been bound together next to the great river Euphrates, in the river side of the Euphrates River. And the four leaders were let loose, that had been created for the hour and day and month and year, that they would kill the third part of men. And I've just read the date right there. I'll read on. And I heard the size of the locusts. I read this version because it said leaders, another version, and locusts. Why? Because the fifth plague speaks about the locusts resurrected of the abyss, and the sixth plague sees the locusts armed in an ordained army following four leaders. That is what you see. Christians generally don't relate. They think it's two different groups. The resurrected locusts, a different type of demons, and an army of 200 million, a different group. It's the same army. One was just resurrected, and the other, you already see them as ordained, disposed, and ready for battle. And it is with the four angels, or the four leaders, in charge of them. And I heard the number of the locusts that formed that great army. Now it's an ordained army. First they're resurrected, and says that the earth was filled with smoke. Per se, it was just disaster, the locusts. It was disaster. Now you see them as ordained. You see an army that is ordained in order, ready to fight. So this is of that great army, 200 million. It doesn't say 200 million. It says 2 thousands of thousands. It's the 2 loaves of bread, because it's the 2 witnesses. That's why it's 2. And in this way, I saw those locusts that look like horses, and those that led them, who? The four leaders, or four angels. And they had yellow, dark blue, and red armor. And the horses had heads like lions, and fire and smoke and burning sulfur bellowed from their mouths. It's all symbols that actually I don't care about a lot. It was just to impress John that they had a power that he had never seen in his life. Of course, it has to do with fire, smoke, and sulfur, with gunpowder. Of course, it smells like sulfur, the fire, the sound, the fire of the firearms. Precisely, it's called firearms. It's not that the firearms are a fire, but they issue of fire, sulfur, and noise. You would never imagine how those locusts would have those arms with power in the ends to kill. They don't see how the bullets come out. They have some noise with sulfur, and they would kill with that. Of course, what is John going to understand if he's seeing something? So then I don't worry about those symbols. Here we've got a locust, for example. Come here. We have, if he saw this firing going pew pew pew, and the smoke you see, and the strength that you see what comes out from here, he would say, this, and it's some guy is firing it. This was an extension of the locust that was would push this here, and fire, sulfur, and smoke would come out, and with this he would hurt. What's he gonna say? Something like that. Something simple. Talking about something else. We don't do anything with that, but just so you understand. Just so you understand. So you understand. Okay. Very well. But the date is here. I'll read this again. The part that I care about. Let loose. They're bound because they cannot do their work. But this prophecy is based in the moment in which they are let loose. That is what the prophecy is based on, in the moment in which they are let loose. Let loose the 4 leaders that have been bound next to the great river Euphrates, and the 4 leaders were loosed, which were prepared, which had been created for the hour. First of all, an hour. For the day, for the month, and for the year. That's so specific. He didn't need to say anything else. It was for that hour that they needed to be prepared. It doesn't say that. It says a code. It says hour. It says month. It says, what did I skip? Okay, it says hour. It says month. No, pardon me. Once again, it says hour and day. Let's go in order. Hour, day, month, and year. That's what it says. Why so specific? And why were they bound? And they were created with this purpose. That purpose that they have to fulfill, of course. One of the purposes. But it says that they are prepared, they are bound. But when they are let loose, it's in that time, it is the hour, the day, and month and year. So then, of course, the Adventist theologians, that in my point of view, they were the best ones in prophecy, even if they don't really hit anything in anything, but they're better than the rest, even if they were all wrong. Obviously, they're all wrong, but the way of interpreting was a lot better than the one of the rest, than of the Catholics. They don't even interpret anything, any of the prophecies, and that's good. That's good. The Protestants, they started to interpret, and they interpret, actually, I have to use the phrase that's so known and so ugly for many of you. It is ass. I have no other way of saying it. I don't have any other way of saying it. I have to use that one. It is ass the way they interpret. The Adventists interpret better. Doesn't mean they're right, but it is a more wise way of interpreting. They couldn't know the truth. They were not kings. But they advanced a little bit by saying, well, we're trying here with the symbols. So then, if we've got, so you understand, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, prophetically speaking, are 15 days. I want to show, you should know this already. 1 hour is 15 days. How do we get to that conclusion? I'll show it to you. 1 hour, 1 day, 1 day, 1 day. Prophetically speaking, how much is it? 1 year. Good, very good. 1 year. Say 1 year. 1 year, 1 day per year, and day per year. If every year has 360 days, so then 1 hour, you divide it by 24, It gives you 15 days. Very simple. You can get it. Why it's 15 days. In the same rule, it's day per year. Okay, day per year. Just like the Adventists interpret that's wrong. I want to explain that. 1 hour, 1 day. What else follows? Month, right? A month. How much is that? 30 days. It's equivalent to what? 30 years. 30 years. 30 days, 30 years. What else? What else it say? 1 year. In 1 year, how much is 1 hour, 1 day, 1 month, 1 year? It doesn't say 1 hour. I didn't want to add that. It doesn't say 1 hour. You already interpret as. It doesn't say 1 hour for the hour. And in all the versions in Greek say the hour, a specific hour. It doesn't say 1 day, 1 year. No. For the hour, for the day, for the month, and for the year. It's specific. Okay, but the Adventists turn everything around and they say you must be talking about an hour plus an entire day plus an entire month plus an entire year. So then the year is 360 days, day per year, 360 years. So then how much do we get? This whole sum is 391 years and 15 days. And 15 days. If the board is covered, I'm sorry for you, but that's what it says. Oh, you can see it. You can see it. Hour, day, month, and year. This is fake. This is interpreted by interpreters that are ass, but it's just that only the kings can interpret it. So then there's a secret here. There is a secret. And I want to keep you in the suspense. How many likes? We have 340. Okay, you started to give us some likes now. 340. That's good. 340. It's been an hour 20 speaking. That's good. We're not going to finish part 10 today because we're in this, which is very exciting. For me, it's wow. It's absolutely magnificent. I've told you today so that you can start to chew it this whole entire week that we're in a period standing because we're in the period of handing out the white stone. It will not be simultaneous, not on one day. It'll take some time. That's also the mark took its time. We should spread this out as soon as possible because then it'd be your fault. We're going to, until the last one says, until when, Lord, until the last one receives the white stone, we could do anything. Call Sauls, we leave one out that had to go. What? Yes, the people are so slow. Absolutely as slow as the one that receives the mark last. So much time. So 60 days you haven't marked. Go and mark. Go get marked. It says free. It says free. Look, they're giving it away. Those that have to be marked, let them be marked. Those have to die by the sword must die by the sword. That's the way it is. So then, some go here, some go there. It says, until when do we have to wait? Until the number is completed of those that are going to die like you. And we have to wait till when? Until the number is completed of those that have to receive the white stone. That's the way it is. So then, we're in that period. It is your fault. No, it's not your fault, but you're slow like this. I do whatever I can, but I think we're doing okay in the time, the predetermined time. But what does this have anything to do with what we're talking about? It has a lot to do with it, because 1260, which was until Judgment Day, we've learned what is the purification of the temple is, and the judgment came. What happened later? The abomination begins, which we were already, I'll say this word or not? I'll say this one. I'll dare say it. We were vaccinated. We were vaccinated against lies. Were we vaccinated or not? So then we received the vaccine, a blessing. We were vaccinated against lies. When the malicious virus appeared, we were already vaccinated against that virus. What a blessing. We didn't want another one. Let the others that were not vaccinated yet to receive it. We were immunized, vaccinated, and I give glory and thanks to Elohim and to all us that we understood and we got vaccinated in time. Of course, we're in favor of the vaccine. The vaccine that we teach, that's why, don't stop this video. I'm in favor. Entirely in favor. If we did it in the year 2018, it was marvelous. It was marvelous. We vaccinated our temple against what was coming later. We were prepared. And then later, the others that didn't have that chance, they have to go back and receive their dose. It's great. Marvelous. Absolutely fantastic. So then, let's advance. The 1290 are from those that have to get it later. We were immunized already. I don't need it. I have this protection already. I protected it. I'm already here. I protected myself. And where's yours? It goes here. It goes here. Ours. It goes here. And what comes next? The 1335. And what happens? Blessed and happy is he that arriveth unto 1335, because they'll enjoy the white stone. Wow, what if Daniel said that? If Daniel were to say that, but that is what Daniel says. As an end of it all, I would say. And who was it? The blessing was, well, we'll get to 1335, and some of you needed to say, yes, we got there, now what? Don't be sons of bitches, but if you saw something in the most valuable that you could have received, and it was when this all ends in the period of the 1335 until special time. Blessed. Why? Because the angels that signed your white stone are bound, and to top it off, it has the signature of the four angels which are bound. They can't do anything. They're already getting sick and tired. But they are detained until the hour, the day, the month, and the year. So that in 1 hour, in 1 day, specific hour, specific day, specific month, and a specific year, it is prophesied that they will be let loose. Let loose. Finally, let loose. Loose. And when they let these angels loose, they're going to have a brutal army. That's why I say, maybe it's not yet this year. We still need next year. That's why I said I'm going to give a date. But the year, I'm not sure of the year, but I'll give a date. A clear date. That in my point of view is the only one that coincides with this prophecy. The only one that coincides with it. I cannot conceive if you were demonstrating the contrary and you found a different date. I'll consider it and I'll study it. But of everything that I know of the Bible, there isn't something more specific. It doesn't exist. Something more specific in all the Bible, the date that I'm going to give. The date that I'm going to give. Let's see if someone can dare say what it could be. I'm going to give a chance for people to interact. Let's say if someone can dare say, even if it's something stupid, we're used to it. Let's see if they dare say, of everything that you've said, this one, it would seem to meet the conditions. Very good. Yes. Yes. That's the way it is. Yes. Yes. Yes, no, and yes, and no. But you see how when I present the things, they start to kind of fall like this. Very good. There's only one feast that's never been fulfilled. Absolutely nothing fulfilled. Not only one. Once again, there are 3 feasts that nothing has ever been fulfilled. Let's start with the first one. Pesach. Was Pesach fulfilled? It was fulfilled partially. It was completely fulfilled, which is the partial one was when the people of Israel came out of Egypt and the firstborns died, and then they sacrificed a lamb and they ate the lamb, and with that they marked the doorpost with the blood of the lamb. Perfect. They fulfilled it because it was not just a celebration. Those that had not marked it with the blood of the lamb, the firstborn would be born. So the first true fulfillment was right there. The second fulfillment that's complete. It is the death of the lamb or the serpent, the Pesach, the 14th. Yahweh dies, known back then as Jesus the Christ, Yeshua the Mashiach, but it was Yahweh that one that was there. Absolutely, it was Yahweh. And Yahweh died to annul everything that you already know. It is part of the plan. He also had to experience what death was and all the rest. All the curses that he placed there, he had to die. So then it was completely fulfilled. Pesach will not be fulfilled again. Why? Because Pesach meant the death of Yahweh. That is what Pesach means. That's it. It's over. It's fulfilled. First of all, it was a partial fulfillment when Yahweh died. A complete fulfillment of Pesach, just like that, entirely like that, absolutely. That's it, and it was fulfilled like that. The matzot, which are the unleavened bread, which mean the body without life, and also was fulfilled Bikurim. Yom Bikurim, the day of when they would offer up the barley. The feast of the, what do they call Bikurim? The feast of what? Of unleavened bread and first fruits, exactly, first fruits. I forget the word. We always say bikurim, first fruits of the barley. So then, was that fulfilled? Of course it was fulfilled. With what? What was the first fruits of the barley? First fruits of the barley would seem to be those that Yeshua resurrected, but he didn't take them to any heaven, okay? He resurrected them so that they would live some time, and then they ended up back then. He didn't take them anywhere. Don't imagine that. But they were the first fruits of the barley. It is the grain of the least quality. The following feast, Shavuot, was Shavuot fulfilled partially? And it could be twice as partial, but the totality of Shavuot was not fulfilled. Why? And you already know this by memory. It was the rendering of the Torah. To say Shavuot, Moses goes up, he ascends. That's what I explained last Shabbat, that he opens a chuppah, which was like the matrimony, the feast of the matrimony, official one of Yahweh, but it was a disaster. Well, that's the one. It was a second fulfillment, Pentecost, the famous Pentecost of the 120 that came like a wind that came that would seem like some flames of fire in the spoken tongues. Okay, that's fine. Which is the true fulfillment of Pentecost or Shavuot? The bread, the loaves of bread, which still need to be cooked. The loaves of bread, when the two witnesses are resurrected in the homes, because what is the homes? This earth. When the Mashiach, those that have the white stone, resurrect the two witnesses, and they prepare them, and they adorn them, and they present them unto Yahweh. That is the feast of Shavuot. So then, it was never fulfilled. It's never been fulfilled. You need that one. So then, first, you need to fulfill that one. I could be wrong. The next feast was never been fulfilled, not even by chance. There's not even a partial fulfillment. There isn't. We could look in history, like now I will read to you, because I want to read it to you. I will read it in this book, and I'll read to you in the translation of the book of Uriah Smith. I'm not going to read it in English. So then I'll read to you what these people think. But the reality is that Yom Teruah, or the Feast of Trumpets, has never ever been fulfilled. Not even by chance, not even anything partial that you say, partially, could you give that a little bit? No, nothing. Just a tiny bit? No, nothing. It's never been fulfilled. Trumpets has never been fulfilled, ever. What does trumpets mean for you? What does it mean? It is the announcement of Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur, for the Adventists, was fulfilled when? October 22nd of 1844, when their Jesus passed on from the holy place to the most holy place, and something completely stupid, absolutely a lie, that I ate for years. the handing over of Jesus from the holy place to the most holy place. It initiates the judgment. By whom? By the dead. For the dead, the investigative judgment where Jesus, from 1844, going one dead person through another one, but they keep dying. He never ends. It's like, hold on. It's kind of like, when is he going to end? He doesn't have any help. He's alone. He doesn't have help. So he alone, he is going over the dead. And when he thinks that he's about to end, a whole bunch of people die in a war. And now with all those, when am I going to get to the end? But the Adventists teach you that when he finishes with the last dead person, the judgment for the living, which that could be you, starts. And then if he grabs you, he grabs you. That's Adventist doctrine. Doctrine of judgment, the most protected doctrine of the Adventist church. And they feel like they are the most proud to have. They call it the doctrine of the sanctuary. They say it is unique in the world. No one has it. No one comprehends it. It is our treasure that God, that Jesus gave us through our beloved prophet, Hell and White. I had this as the most sacred treasure, mind you. For the Adventists, not that he died on the cross, no. The most sacred treasure, aside from the Sabbath that's hidden, it is the doctrine of the sanctuary. And they explain it to you that 2,300 days and eves and the sanctuary is purified in the sanctuary, of course. Daniel 8:14, you should know this by memory. An Adventist should, since we have that revelation that is completely veiled, a revelation that it was going to be the sanctuary, that it'll start to be purified after the 2,300 days and eves, after from the year 427 we count, and it takes us to 1844, and precisely Jesus was in the holy place when he left to heaven. He didn't stop there. He was in the most holy place, but in the 10th of Ethanim, or October 22nd of the year 1844, in the feasts of Yom Kippur, the sanctuary was opened, and White saw that the curtain was opened, and our high priest passed, which is not even our God. Our high priest, because God is there, right? The most holy ghost, which he wants to give you the ring. The high priest enters. He says he penetrated through the curtains, and he entered into the most holy place. Ellen G. White saw it in a spectacular vision. He saw that Jesus was transferred over to the presence of the Father. Wow, what a magnificent moment. All that is horse shit, bullshit, dog shit completely. It's a whole package of lies, and eat it. And the Adventists are happy that we're the happier in the world because we have that eternal truth of the sanctuary, because it's a lie that's enormous that I would eat. But just together and all, and I was so proud, and everything that hears me here, and you, I don't know, because most Adventists, we were the specialists in the sanctuary. Don't even ask Paul, not Tarsus, but Paul of the eternal truth, and these great pride of Adventism. We have the doctrine of the sanctuary. Dog shit, absolute dog shit. So then Yom Kippur was never fulfilled. It was never fulfilled. And therefore, Sukkot also has never been fulfilled. None of that has been fulfilled. So then, going back to the text says, let loose the 4 leaders that have been tied next to the next year, the Euphrates River, and they were let loose. The 4 leaders were let loose that had been created for the hour and day and month and year. The specific year, the hour, day, month, and year. Let's see what it says what Uriah Smith says about the four angels. I'm going to read this quickly because to tell the truth, it's crazy to say that the four angels were in Riverside. I mean, that is a white stone, and everything that I've just said, it is to laugh. But I'll ask you, this is not to laugh. It quotes the text. It quotes the text about Revelation. What refers to the sixth angel. Well, we're in Revelation 9. Revelation 9, 12 to 13. Revelation 13, but it reads it in a version that I want to read here. But before that, I'd like to read something. I'd like to read how the Adventists, in case you didn't know, because many people haven't gone through Adventism, they also haven't gone through our series that I won't ever see, which is the Great Tribulation. I explain all this to you under the Adventist side. But look at, just so that you understand, the 5 months of the previous trumpet, of the fifth trumpet. What does Uriah Smith say? In his power of hurting men for 5 months, such was the time that was created to them to torment them through constant predation, but without killing them politically. Just whatever. 5 months to 30 days per month is 150 days. That is to say 150 years. Beginning with July 27th of 1299, at the end of the 150 years gets to 1449. During this process, this whole time lapse, the Turks were busy in a perpetual war with the Greek Empire without defeating them. They took over many Greek provinces and kept them, but the Greek independence was still in Constantinople. Yet, in 1449, at the end of the 150 years, a change was produced, whose history was found under the following trumpet. So then, who was the fifth trumpet according to the Seventh-day Adventists? It is Muhammad and his allies, Islam. The sixth trumpet is whom? Entirely a different army. No longer a Muslim army, not the Muhammad's army, but rather it is the Ottoman Empire. It has a different army, a brutal error. We're going to read what it says here, speaking about the sixth trumpet. It quotes the text that I want to read in this version. Well, I'll go ahead and read it. It reads as follows: the sixth angel sounded the trumpet, and I heard a voice out of the four horns of the golden altar that was before God, saying unto the sixth angel that had the trumpet, let loose the four angels that are bound in the river Euphrates. And the four angels were let loose that were prepared, in other words, bound for the hour and day. No, not paired up. They were ready or designed or created for, they had been created for the hour and day and month and year in order to kill the third part of men. Here, Uriah Smith starts to explain the first woe, which is the fifth trumpet. The first woe was to continue from the birth, I'm just reading, the birth of Mohammedanism, Muhammad, until the end of the 5 months, 150 years for them. It would also end, and it would begin of the second woe, when the sixth angel sounded the trumpet. It was commanded him that he take away the restrictions that had been imposed unto the nation, that he would be limited to torment men, and his commission was extended to kill unto the third part of men. This command proceeded from the four horns of the golden altar, the four angels. If I were to say that the four angels are here in Riverside, it's laughable. But to read this, it's even more laughable because they weren't even for, I mean, just whatever they come, just whatever vegetables, the people accept that if it's in history, it would happen like, okay, it happened. This, for the most studied Adventists are the most sons of bitches that exist. Why? Because they think they are wise. Before, they used to call themselves those are the book, what was it called? How was it? The nation of the book, right? Because I always had a Bible, not this green one, this Catholic one. Not this Catholic Bible. they would be studying with their book like this. They'd be hugging their book, their little book, as if they understood it. As if they understood it, they didn't understand shit. So then, do you think it's ridiculous for me to say, look, in this date it was fulfilled in the precise time that it said 1260, 1290, 1335? The unexpected came up on its own organically, naturally, that of the white stone, and then we put that related with, oh, this is the white stone. When did it have to come? Precisely for the 1335. So then, how? Once you understand all that, it is pure logic that there are 4 angels that signed that for you that are bound in Riverside. And it has a lot more logic than the shit that I'm reading because there's nothing else. I'll read on. Who are the angels? It's going to say it right now. Uriah Smith. The 4 angels are the 4 main sultanates that opposed the Ottoman that composed the Ottoman Empire. So then, who are the 4 angels? The first main sultans. I mean, to make things up, we can do it like crazy. These sultanates had their headquarters in Aleppo, Iconic, Damascus, and Baghdad. Oh, that's great. Aleppo, Iconic, Damascus, and Baghdad. The 4 cities were the 4 angels that weren't together. They were separate. It doesn't say that they're together. No, these are separate. Everything misinterpreted like shit interpreted. Look at the balance of 4 angels that I tell you, the ones that are, and they are. It's 2 men and 2 women. It'd be in a bit of problems of genders if there were 4 men and women. No, there isn't. If it was, and 4 men together, bound. You say 4 bound men? You know, it doesn't sound nice. 4 men that are linked. If they would pass on to the other gender, well, we could understand, 4 men that live together. And, well, we could understand. If we see it from the point of view of the gay gender. If it were 4 women, I'll run out of there. No, I'm just playing. 4 women, you'd say, and what about men? 4 female angels, well, there's no balance. If there were 3 men and 1 woman, that also there's no balance. You 3 against 1. 3 men, 1 woman. The women would say, no. It takes 3 men to be equivalent to 1 woman. A woman would say, I don't know. If it were 3 women and 1 man, maybe we'd say, look, you have to get 3 men together to make 1 man. And it would all be an unbalanced disaster. What would be the perfect balance that enters into human mind? If they are bound, it prophetically means that they are bound. Bound means like the matrimonial alliance. So then, normally, since Adam and Eve, or Yahweh and his bride, represent a woman and a man, first you have to bind those 2. Those are bound. And then later, the children are born for them to be a bound lineage. There's nothing more perfect than a man, a woman, a male son, and a female daughter for the perfect balance of saying it's all balanced. And we can understand why they are bound. They're not just bound of their hands, but they're bound together. That's why they're together. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you don't understand, don't you worry. Just go and listen to Gambetta and all the rest. Keep reading this dog shit book that I'm reading. That's what to be bound means. To be emotionally bound, physically bound, bound with the binding of lineage. They are bound together and balanced. There cannot be a more perfect comparison. Now this idiot Uriah Smith tells me, no, it's 4 cities. They're all separated, but their leaders are bound. Don't be sons of bitches. I want to read to you just so you see what the ridiculousness of the religions is. If you think that what I'm saying is ridiculous, this is more ridiculous. He says they had restrictions, but God gave a command. It says that God gave a command. Where does it say that God gave a command? And they were let loose until the end of 1448, towards the period of the 150 years. It's kind of mistranslated. That's difficult for me to answer. John Paleologo. Now, if John Paleologo says it, John Paleologo died without leaving a child to succeed him in the Oriental throne. His brother Constantinus, his legitimate successor, did not dare go up into the throne without the consentment of the Turkish Sultan. I mean, this is marvelous for the prophecy. How didn't I see it before? But of course, I didn't remember John Paleologo. Therefore, they were sent ambassadors to Adrianopolis to receive the approbation of the Sultan for the new sovereign at the beginning of 1449. In so ominous circumstances, the last of the Greek emperors was crowned, and blah blah blah. He continues to read stupid shit. I'll advance. The four angels were let loose for an hour, a day, a month, and a year, with the authorization of killing the third part of men. This period during which supremacy should be executed, the Ottoman one, that is, it's 391 days and 15 days. I explained that to you, the stupid logic of theirs. I explained it to you. That's where they get it. I knew it. I used to suck on this. I knew this by memory since I was little. I was proudly an Adventist, 391 years and 15 days. It all adds up, he says. It all adds up to 391 years and 15 days. It gets to this result. A prophetic year, it's 360 days, 360 years, a year. I explained all this to you. I'm not going to read this shit. Okay, and it says as follows, but even though the four angels were let loose thus by the Greeks, another and unfortunate destined fate gave the headquarters of the empire. I didn't understand what the fuck he was saying, but he's trying to give excuses that it wasn't as quick as possible. Amurates, of course, right, we forgot that guy, Amurates, the Sultan to which was presented the submission of Bracoses. We forgot Amirates, Bracoses, and who was the other son of a bitch? His name was... I just told you, you already forgot. You never pay attention. You don't pay attention when I give you the names that are so important. Was the son of a bitch's name? What did he say his name was? Well, John Paleologo. You don't pay attention. You don't pay attention. That's why you don't understand the prophecies. But the Adventists believe all this to the letter. John Paleologo and all the sons of bitches that I just mentioned, they are the ones that compose the four angels. How don't you understand it? The prophecy is so precise. It's real. It's true. But oh well, since it has certain things that don't coincide. But we move on. We move on like this. Uriah Smith says. He says, as a consequence, he got ready to take the city and lay siege to it. April 1453, and it ended with the taking of the city and the death of the last of the Constantines. May 16th of the following year, and the oriental city of the Caesars became the headquarters of the Ottoman Empire. Okay, it's complete stupidity. I just want to read a little bit for you so that you see that what we are understanding is not ridiculous at all. These are ridiculous, stupid, and unprovable things that do not get to what the prophecy says. Let's go to a different book. From Maxwell, which I used to love this book from Maxwell. Maxwell's book says, yes, in some parts that I wanted to read to you, it says, for some time, the hordes of Turkish tribes had been going around the huge prairies of Russia. By separating themselves from the others, the Seleucid Turks headed their horses towards the south, invaded Iran, and invaded the Muslim region. Immediately, they became the most dynamic and energetic of all the Islamic nations, aggressive and numerous. They first divided in factions, headed each one of them by a popular leader. Possibly so, the four angels. What a son of a bitch. These are worse than me. He says, possibly. I mean, they Adventists say this is true. This is possibly so. We don't know. It's all ass, but we have to say it. We're going to say it in the future. If I place it in the future, we're not going to understand the thing, but we're going to say it possibly so. It says possibly so. The four angels. and they advanced by force towards the river Euphrates. Their goal was Asia Minor of the Byzantine Empire, but in good measure they were kept in check, bound. Possibly it means bound to the river Euphrates because they passed through there, and of course it says possibly they were in check, so then they were left bound. So then that's why Elohim placed them in Revelation that they were bound. What sons of bitches? I can't believe it. I can't believe what I read, and I can't believe that I used to belong to this dog shit church, and I'm saying to all those sons of bitches of the Adventists that write to me every week, stop going to the Adventist church. What the fuck do you have in your mind? This is complete ridiculousness. Absolutely, of course. Already the angels start to lose their patience. Just wait till you let them lose. No Adventist will be left. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to say anything, and I advance. We advance, he says. That's why possibly they were bound to the river Euphrates because they were held back by an army. What is he saying? In this so critical a moment, Byzantine emperor passed away and left a child as his successor. The empress married a general called Romano, who, according to the best traditions, led personally their forces against the Seleucid Turkish, only to be defeated decisively in the year 1071 in the transcendental battle of Manzikert. Today it is called Malazgirt. Have you seen that battle of the year 1071? That is the fulfillment of the four angels. And stop fucking around already. It's there. It's been fulfilled. Fuck it off to hell. Yes, fuck it all to hell. It's all been fulfilled. It's all been fulfilled. It's just that you don't remember the battle of 1071 of the Battle of Manzikert because it's now called in a different way. It's called Malazgirt, and where the army was found at the command of the Romano, who was not Cadmiel. Cadmiel Romano Esparza was in that, and was probably his great-grandfather, great-great-great-grandfather. Who knows who it was in Cadmiel's ancestry. So then it says, just to educate you, I have to educate you. In 1071, there was a transcendental battle from Manzikert close to the river Euphrates. Oh, now I'm understanding. It makes sense. The Byzantine Empire perished, and Romano was taken prisoner. Oh, poor Roman. When after some time he was allowed to return home, his son took his eyes out. Oh, I didn't remember that detail. Hold on. Now I'm remembering. And treated him so cruel that he died soon. In the meantime, after having destroyed the greater part of the Byzantine army in Manzikert, the Turks launched themselves without any defense of the mountain of the Taurus upon them, and they dominated the whole Asia Minor. And they called that region Turkey, by which we know them up until today. By advancing through the passing of the mountains, many of them great riders that extended themselves through many parts, consumed gluttonously the resources of the region. That must be the 200 million. How didn't I notice? Let's delete everything I said. Yes, of course, the ones that came on horses, and apparently they should have looked like a great army of 200 million. They can't be any more sons of bitches. It's not 200 million, but those Turks that were riding right there, I'm sure that if I were there, and knowing the Battle of Oscar Mar, where the fuck his name is, it would have seemed to have been 200 million. So then John that was there, he thought, but John heard the number. It's not that he thought it was. He heard the number, 2 millions of millions. But this is what the stupid 70 Adventists believe. How can you precise this? I have to insult them because I insult myself. How I was an Adventist for such a long time. It was a time of maturity, of maturing, right? It says, I'm sure that it would have seemed as a 200 million army. The Turks killed, quote unquote, they said, quote unquote, the Byzantine Empire. The Seleucid Turks fell upon Usman. That's where we get the name Ottoman. And their successors, the Ottomans. And in its time, the Ottoman Turks developed the Ottoman Empire, which is important for our history. Yeah, very important. I love it. We could not have lived without the Ottomans. How many times do you get up in the morning and say, thanks to the Ottoman Empire? That's so important for my life. Well, and if I believe whatever they were saying of all that I could give a fuck absolutely at all. Just like that, completely a fuck. Moving on. Why is it that I have to make you think of this stupidity that they say? In Revelation 9:15, we are told that slaves of the Ottoman Turks looked like locusts. Hold on a bit. Hold on. In Revelation, I never read that it says in Revelation 9:15 that the slaves of the Turks looked like locusts. Never read that. Revelation 9:15 says that the Ottoman Turks slaves seem to be locusts. They can't be any more of a son of a bitch. Revelation 9:15 says that they look like locusts. It doesn't say Ottoman Turks on there. I'll read it again because if you don't pay attention, then you miss out on the details that inform and program you. It says in Revelation 9:15, we are told that the slaves of the Ottoman Turkish Muslims looked like locusts and they would have killed the third part of men. That's a lie. In other words, it is complete exposed lie, because it's explained that in Revelation 9:15 it's talking about the slaves of the Ottoman Turks. Well, what sons of bitches. It says that entity, we've identified it as the Byzantine Empire. Oh, that's great. Thank you. Thank you. In Constantinople, its capital, and according to the prophecy, the Muslims would conquer the empire with the use of fire and sulfur that would come out from the mouths of the horses, the smoke that comes from the horses' mouths, and their tails that look like serpents that could kill. And the 200 million, they're all figures of the language, just like the horses, but related with things that are like unto them. Okay, here's a problem that they're lying and no one says a thing. They're making us believe that the Muslims already had firearms, that they had these. At least these, but, the old ones, that's a lie. The most they had was to have cannons, but they weren't being carried. Here is an illustration. The Turks supposedly, they broke the wall of Constantinople by using cannons. What does that have anything to do with that the horses had fire coming out of their mouths? These are not the horses. Am I making myself be understood? It says, Revelation says that every soldier of those 200 million had the capacity of issuing fire and sulfur and kill. You understand? There's nothing to do with a cannon, which the horses are not carrying them, the soldiers are not carrying them, and they had one here and there that were placed there, and they were almost, if I can't remember the history well, they were created there, because for a long time they laid siege to it. They were created there to try to break the wall. But for them to tell me that this is the fulfillment, that out of the horse's mouth sulfur and fire came out, it is absolutely taken out of lies and stupidity, because this has no relation. The Ottoman soldiers didn't have firearms. They had sabers. And out of the sabers, you don't get sulfur or smoke or fire. You get blood. That is, if you can cut just a part of them. But blood comes from the person, not out of that. So whoever wants to see this as a modern army, it's a lie. It's all dog shit. I don't want to read any more shit. I had highlighted another part that was interesting, though. But tell the truth, it is one dog shit after another. If you think, I'm not going to read anymore. If you think that it is an insanity to interpret Revelation in the way that we interpret it, and yes, for the world it might be, but what they made us believe, it's more of an insanity. We believed it as little stupid lambs. We believed it. We had it in high esteem. Uriah Smith, James White, the husband murdered by the wife, crazy old bitch. Yeah, I believe that she killed him. We'll see later. Maybe not, but I believe in my conspiracy theory that that bitch killed him. She killed him. We'll see that later. That crazy old bitch, that whole prophetic line that they thought that it was fulfilled is a lie. And if it's a lie, then they already close the capacity to think. They close it on you forever. Just like I was tired of listening to my dad, a Seventh-day Adventist pastor, with my preferred subject. I always told you what is my preferred subject in the Bible when I was a child. Which was it? I've told you 1,000 times over. I'm going to get upset, okay? I told you this 1,000 times over. Yeah, the prophecies, but of what book? Daniel and Revelation. Okay, you were saved, okay? Because we were going to make hamburgers. I was going to make you, even if Nelson paid for them that they got here. I was going to just kick you all out and I would eat them all myself. Those terrible hamburgers like this. Of course, I've always told you, every time that my dad would give a prophecy, my excitement would grow to the top because it was as if I had been born to absorb prophecy. And how I loved it. And I would sit on the first row and I saw that my dad would draw this statue and he said, this belongs to Babylon. I was like, wow, yeah, Nebuchadnezzar. And this silver part belongs to Medes and the Persians. Yeah, Medes and the Persians. I'm talking about 5 years. I'm not talking about a child, 14-year-old. At 14 years old, I listened to music, not a lot of prophecy. I was already bored when I was a child. And my dad, twice a year, he would give the series Daniel and Revelation. Of course, now, in hindsight, I see it as dog shit. But how I enjoyed it. I used to love it. I love it when he would say that the beast was Rome. I would jump. The sons of bitches, Catholics. I would jump like this. Yeah, we have to annihilate all the Catholics, those sons of bitches, the Catholics. And all my friends were Catholics. Because in Argentina, they're all Catholics. And I said, good thing they didn't listen to me, those sons of bitches, Catholics. And see, when Jesus comes and tramples over them, they're going to impose Sunday. And when they impose Sunday, we have to flee into the mountains to keep the Sabbath. Because the Sabbath is our sign. The Sabbath is our seal, the seal of God. And we want it on our forehead. We want to say Shabbat on our forehead. I didn't know it was called Shabbat. Saturday, because I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. God damn it. Saturday, what are the rest? The beast. You stupid idiots. You Sunday keepers. Dog shit. Don't understand anything. You worship the Virgin Mary. What sons of bitches? First thing, the Trinity is fine because we're Trinitarian, but they worship the Virgin Mary and they keep Sunday. They eat pork. They're sons of bitches. They're all sons of bitches. Then I would listen to Revelation. When Jesus would come, he was going to trample upon. Jesus would come because the Father would cut Jesus. Jesus is the rock. He's our rock. Yes, amen. Glory to God. Because I know you're capable of saying things like, Jesus is our rock, the rock of justice. And when the rock of justice would come, he's going to destroy the statue. He's going to destroy Babylon. And would rejoice with that, how beautiful Babylon meets in the Persians, Greece. Everything was all great. Rome, those sons of bitches of Rome. Because Babylon, okay, I mean, it was in the past. Medes and the Persians didn't really know who they were. I had never seen them. Now, all the rest, which are Greeks, I don't hate them all that. I mean, Alexander the Great, and I used to like Alexander the Great from Iron Maiden. But the legs, those sons of bitches, the legs represent Rome. Oh, how angry I would get with Rome. Everyone just hates Rome. They hate Rome. Those dog shit Sunday keepers. So then we have to destroy those legs. So then that's why I was brought up, and that was what I sucked upon. I used to love the prophecies. All dog shit explained. Absolutely. But that is all sealed in the mind of the Adventists and in the mind of all the religions that believe in different stupid shit. It is sealed. And of course, the only thing they do is not being able to know the truth. They cannot know it. They are sealed. What was your... Of course, it can't pass. Because you have to really... Where the Nicodemeans, and he says, you want to know the truth, you want to know the Spirit, you have to be born again. Go to your mother's cunt and be born again. And be born again, and then come and I'll explain, because they're going to come with all fucking Torah. No, what am I going to explain to you? You're not going to understand a thing, Nicodemus. Nicodemus, you have to be born again. I'm sorry. Once you understand the serpent, then you'll understand. The serpent that was hung. When you understand that, your generation will not understand it. They won't understand it. But the time will come that they will understand. So then, before wrapping up, I'll start to explain this, which in my point of view, in this point, there's no other point to let loose the angels which are bound, which are 2 men and 2 women, and they are bound in every way by blood, husband and wife, and bound by son and daughter, and a completely bound group in every aspect, and to top it off, they are bound to Babylon, which can't do a thing. So then, when would be the best moment to let them loose what the prophecy says? When are they going to be let loose? At the hour, day, the month, and the year. That's a key. That's a key. Out of all the feasts that have been fulfilled, they can be fulfilled again now. Pesach starts when the sun goes down on the 14th. But it's not fulfilled until it says you'll have Pesach between the 2 eves. We agree, right? Pesach is all day. Loaves without unleavened bread, 7 days. We couldn't explain that. Bikurim, 1 day. Bikurim is all an entire day, but it has no sense. Really, let's say at 9, 10 a.m., the priest would show up and he would present the bunch of barley. But it wasn't as soon as it began. Not as the sun go down and start entering to begin. It wasn't Shavuot. The next one, same thing. Shavuot. When the feast of Shavuot began, when the sun went down on Shabbat, which becomes Sunday, that be Shavuot, the 50th day of the Omer countdown. But they didn't do anything. Did you have to announce that it was starting? No. The sun goes down. We're still counting like idiots every week, every day. If you don't know about that, then just shoot yourself. We're counting every day. First week, first day, second week, third week. So then you know that when the sun goes down, you enter into Shavuot. Did you do anything? No, nothing. On the next day, when it would be dawning in some place, they would take the 2 loaves unto the temple. Okay? So then it coincides with the hour, day, month, and year. No, there's only one feast that has anything to do with hour, day, month, and year. Why? Because I'm going to explain the logic. Yom Teruah, which means Day of Trumpets. I'll place this in parentheses. For all of Judaism, not Christianity, but Judaism, they have studied that day and they call it with different names. The least they use is Yom Teruah. You know this. They call it the head of the year. What do they say? How do they say it? Yom Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah. The head of the year. But that is just to dissimulate. Just to hide it a bit. But they also call it Yom Hasedek. If I mispronounced it, I could give a fuck. Yom Hasedek. What does Yom Hasedek mean? It means the hidden day. Why the hidden day? Because it's the day when you don't know, but the only sign there is when the sun is seen, and when you see the moon is when it initiates, when the month initiates, and and you have to sound the trumpet. Immediately, it's the only day in the whole year that happens. So then we don't know. It shows up. We calculate, the moon is seen, and those in charge, they get their shofars, and it becomes the day of Yom Teruah. And the day of Yom Teruah, for the whole Jewish world, means the day of judgment, the final day. If you don't know that, the day of the final judgment. Why? Because it says day of trumpets, Yom Teruah. In the prophecies in Jeremiah and in other places that talks about the day of the Lord, the day of Yahweh, of the wrath, the day of the wrath. Another name for those days is Day of Trumpets. Same name that has the feast. Day of Jehovah, Day of Darkness, Day of Trumpets. And why? In Joel it says, for the shofar will be sounded. Great and terrible day. Interesting. The Jewish nation already assumed it, well or wrong. They've assumed that Yom Teruah is the day of the final judgment. Just like that, there's no other day. That's the one. It has the name of the feast of final judgment. Okay. We don't care about that. I just gave you that as a parenthesis, as general information. What I do care about is to understand it myself. Here it says that the four angels are bound, and they're really bound. But up until some time, that moment is translated to hour, day, month, and year. So then, it has to be, in my point of view, something very well known, one of the 7 feasts. Pesach was fulfilled. It has nothing to do with the time. The times are too crossed over. Matzot, nothing to do with that. Bikurim, even less. Shavuot, not that either. Next feast is Yom Teruah. Yom Teruah is the only feast that fits in precisely into a hidden description what it means when it says created for the hour. This says there's a specific time of a specific day of a specific month of a specific year. The hour is when you see the moon and the shofar is sounded. In no other feast are you so expectant of when the sign of the moon begins, which is given by the sound of the shofar, giving beginning to the Day of Trumpets, is the only one there is. But that is why I interpret that as the hour, something very specific. It is the hour in which I say, go and look for the moon, and sometimes we're 1 hour looking for the moon. We're in the period of searching for the moon, but when this is fulfilled, we know that there is a specific time so that the moon is in, not just any. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yom Teruah could have 24 hours. It could have, it's an entire day, but it's no good the entire day. What is it, the good part from Yom Teruah? In the moment in which the hour in which the moon is seen, that is the only feast that we're expecting. Oh, the moon. Yom Teruah begins. Perfect. And that is where the shofar would be sounded, the trumpet. It's called Day of Trumpets. What else does it say? Day. Why day? Because it's a specific day. It's a specific day. It's not the 14th of some day. It is a day which we don't know if it'll be the 29th. It'll be the 29th, 30th, or the 1st. We know that it's the 1st. We don't know if it'll be the 30 or the 1st. Do you understand? Because we're searching for the moon. Now, with all the calculations, the modern calculations, I could estimate it pretty well, and I'm never wrong, when the moon shall be seen, but we're more advanced. We're in the era of the man, not of the monkeys that would go out and look for in the months and see if they saw it. We're in a more advanced era, so then we can calculate this better. But the month of Adar, or Adar the second, let's suppose that we're in Adar the second, or Adar, either of the two, we don't know if it'll have 29 or 30. It has 29 and the moon comes up, then 29 is over, then the new year starts, the 1st of Aviv. Take that part out. I'm talking about the 7th one. Let's go back. Of course, something similar happens in Aviv, but no trumpet is sounded, nothing. I'm talking about the seventh month. In the 6th month, which is the month of Elul, we also don't know if it'll last 29 or 30 days. There could be Elul 29, the moon comes up, we enter into Etanim. There could be Elul 29, the moon doesn't come out. Elul 30, and the moon comes out. Because there's no Elul the 31st. So then, we have Elul, and then we've got Etanim. Very well. It's a day which is called the hidden day. Okay. That is why it says the hour, the day. It's a specific day. It's not a day that takes many days. It's only one day. So then we've got the hour in which the moon comes up. That's why it says the hour. It's important. The day. The day is when we see the moon, we start Yom Teruah. In case I'm wrong and I said Yom Kippur, it says Yom Teruah. I have so many things in my mind that I'm saying. Month. Why it's so important this month. It's the 7th month. So then we've got, look, I could say, no, I'm telling you how I could read this text, and you see if you see the logic that I see. 7th month, precisely. We're waiting for the perfect month for the 7th millennium, the 7th month. And year, that is the year that we don't know. In other words, we could be, if we interpret this well, we could be sure, or almost sure, I said it was speculative, that the angels are loosed on a specific date and hour when the moon comes up and you see Yom Teruah on that day of Yom Teruah. On that 7th month that gives a beginning, the year, that is the one that we cannot be sure of. Could it be this year? Anything could happen. I mean, it's difficult. It could be. Look, it could be. It could be. There are things that should pass and happen, but it could be perfectly well. Certain things that we don't understand them, maybe they're inverted, maybe they have to be loosed, and we don't understand certain other things, but I want to leave it at that. Look at how this text would be, the way I'm placing it, taking out the cover. And they were let loose. I'll read it first with the cover. And the 4 leaders were let loose with the 4 angels that had been created for the hour and day and month and year. What if I were to read it in the way that I just explained it? If it sounds well. And they were let loose the 4 leaders, which were created for the hour in which the moon appears. For the first day of the 7th month of the year, it'd be good for it to say of the Jubilee. That'd be great for it to say that. I don't know. But it'd be good for it to say that. So then now I understand that in my point of view today, and today is July 1st of the year 2023, that expression hour has to do with a specific hour in which a day begins, when a month begins, and when the shofar is sounded, which is precisely the sounding of a trumpet, which is the alarm, which is the final judgment, which is death, which is war, because a trumpet would be sounded for war, precisely. Anticipating a judgment, Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur, or those that were there already or out, just out. So then it's got to do with the next part. The next part has a lot to do with it. If actually your sins were not forgiven, I'm going to say it in a different way. If you had the mark of the beast and you worship the beast, then you were cut off from the face of the earth. Interesting, very interesting. So then, this because it is an enigma. The 4 angels bound for the hour. The hour, the only hour in which you see the moon. The day, the first of the 7th month. Etanim, or Tishri. The day of trumpets. Month, 7th month. And year. The year, whether it's this one or 2024, whether it's 2025, I don't know. I do not know. But the only thing that I understand is that the date of the liberation of the 4 angels would be on a Yom Teruah, on a day of trumpets, which the day of trumpets symbolizes the beginning, we could say, of the day of the wrath of the Lamb. And the Lamb is bound. And the Lamb, when they are let loose, it'll become the wrath of Yahweh. I believe that in 2 hours 22 that I'm not going to teach you anything else. I'll leave for the next time. I've showed you what I think about the feast, the date. It is absolutely, I've studied it over and over, and it's absolutely in my mind that it coincides. There's nothing else that could happen. If it says hour, if it says day, if it says month, and it says year, there's no other date, none other, that has an hour of a specific day and of the specific year. And that it coincides with something that it has to do with it. The Feast of Trumpets, that it has to do with it. That it's never been fulfilled before. That'd be great. I found it spectacular enough to share it with you in a way of speculation. Maybe, who knows, this whole time, ever since 1335 until Yom Teruah, it is the time of the spreading out of the white stone in my mind. For Yom Teruah of this year, we should have given to all those that are of the eternal truth. It could be that there are people that ask that everything they're listening to, they want to have that. That's fine. But the ones that has value, it's kind of like the mark. It is the mark plus the donation. This is this symbol plus what is in your mind, what you believe, what is in your heart. It's not enough with this, as if to say, if you were to give this to your neighbor, your mom doesn't believe shit, it would not be any good for them. In fact, it would become a curse. But those that believe, it's equal to the mark, to have the mark and to worship the image. This is to have the symbol in the physical stone, white stone, and to understand the eternal truth. Just so as to not say to worship the eternal truth, so as to not say it that way. I believe that for the true worshippers, those that compose the body of the Christ, for the first of Etanim, which is Yom Teruah, they should all have in their hands this. Every last one should have this in their hands. And maybe, who knows, we get a surprise in Yom Teruah, and who knows, we would have to wait even more. I'm already psychologically prepared to wait. Because tell you the truth, I believe that we're now in a special moment with a special mission, which is slow. The jeweler is slow, and the post office is slow, and you're slow, and you're all slow. The only fast ones is Angelina, Brian, Leslie, and I. The rest of you are slow in ordering, slowing in the number, slow in everything. We have to go through this period. I want to end this period already. So then please, I'll repeat this again, and I'll close with this. If you haven't ordered it, your white stone, do it today. Do it today. And if I don't answer you in 3 days, it's because there's a whole... I took a break of the messages because there was too many. I says, I'm not going to read them because there's so much. It was a whole quantity. Yeah, impressive. It was an enormous amount. Next week, I'll tell you this. I'm preparing some packages. In other words, we're in the process of all that have asked me in Mexico, not all of them, all that have asked me that I have the rings of them. I'll tell you, all the ones that have asked me for the rings to a certain point, which the jeweler gave to me, I'm going to put them into an envelope in a box. I'm going to send it to Francisco Lopez. Francisco Lopez has a neighbor, which I can give them in an address in San Isidro or San Diego. She crosses the border. She has a post office box and takes it to Francisco. Francisco, he told me, yes, he's going to be responsible. He's going to open the package, of course. He has his. He's going to open the package, and within there's going to be many, many envelopes. And those envelopes, they'll have an address. I don't know if he'll be able to use those envelopes or other envelopes with that address, but he's going to send by express mail from Mexico. He cannot use other private companies because it goes through customs, or because it's in the border, which is Tijuana or Rosarito. If it comes out from there, if it's a private one, it goes through the customs. But he checked that if he uses the National Post Office of Mexico, it doesn't go through the border. So then we're going to use the express service. He's going to send that envelope to those that live in Mexico, because Mexico also, it's a disaster. Up until now, they haven't gotten lost, but they take too long. So he's going to send it with the best service of the post office, which is called Correo Express. Something like that is the name. So then that is the plan for this week. I'm going to let you know all the ones, the pertinent ones, and I don't know for now. But there's some that I have in mind now, but if I tell you now, it'd be unfair with the rest. But there's some that are fortunate enough, and if this works, then those in Mexico, we're going to do this with Francisco, who will be willing to do this. And we're going to do it this way. So then, do not forget, those that are of the eternal truth, those that are not from LVE, it doesn't matter. You can ask for it or not. You want a souvenir or something, that is your problem. But those of LVE, the judges, if you haven't ordered it, either you have problems with Yahweh, but you don't have problems with me. We're one. We're a unit. We're the body of the Mashiach. We're a union, an alliance between us. Like an alliance between four angels. It's an alliance between us. That is the strongest thing there is on earth, an alliance between men and women, of course. I don't want to say between men, the human race, between men and women, an alliance. It is a sacred covenant. That is what this means. And this is prophesied in Revelation 2:17. We're in that period. Once we end it, I believe it'll be before Yom Teruah. We'll move on to the next step. What is the next step? I don't know. But I believe that the angels, there's no better day to let them loose, the day, hour, month, and year than Yom Teruah. Without any further ado, let us wrap up with a word of prayer. Beloved Yahweh, we give you thanks because you guide us. You open the scripture. You give us the measuring rod and to take out all the problems in the covering, which is the hidden manna of the power for the kings. Only the kings have access to it, not because I say it, because you said it. It is your glory. It is the glory of the kings to understand it. Your glory, which is to hide it, and our glory is to understand it. That is why the world cannot understand it. But we do understand it, and we know that we battle against all our tendencies that we already have, which are evil. But if we are the ones that we are, that ring, that white stone, under your power and command, has to arrive to every one of those that are written already that are going to receive the white stone. It is in your hands. The post offices are bad, but you guide everything. There is nothing that escapes your hand. Our human effort is placed there. Our alliance is closed. You have to take charge and take, at least by human means, of post offices to everyone that are the owners of these white stones, and that all those that have yet to understand, let them understand once and for all that this is what they have to do. Without any further ado, waiting to be let loose, and waiting to be let loose soon, because we are sick and tired of being tied in your precious name, the name of the only Creator, the only one that came, the only husband of ours, Yahweh Sebaot, Alleluia. Semper Fi. Let the laurels be eternal that we knew how to achieve. Crowned with glory, let us live. A great big applause for the Argentine bride. Hallelujah. And every one of you, if the Lord allows it, we shall meet again next Shabbat. Hallelujah to every one of you.